A Courtship Guide. Chapter 1. Courtship Guide. You're you and that's it? You're you and that's it? You can improve and change, but the truth is that most marriages end up in superficial relationships anyway, so it's no big deal. The thing about enlightenment is that once you find it, you don't get lonely. You don't really need a relationship. I made a pact with my Creator God that I would be who I am in a positive way with my life. That's all there is to it. I don't need to fret over being lonely. Every day is a great day for me. Be real. Don't be fake, because the real you always comes out over time. Human sexual display. If you're interested in the sexual signals people give off and the flirting games they play both at an unconscious and conscious level, the undisputed master of this is Desmond Morris, who has made a career out of watching people and analyzing them, sometimes to the point of absurdity, as some critics would argue, that he goes too far and gets away from reality, but at least it's interesting and has some truth to it, why people dress as they do, dance as they do, and prance around as they do. It's all one big flirting, mating game according to Desmond, a lot of it going on beneath the level of conscious awareness, but on a deep intuitive level we almost always know when somebody is interested or making the moves on us. The art of cruising is so primal. This is why I generally don't buy into internet dating much, because everything comes down to the sexual chemistry between the players in the moment. If you like someone, simply look at them. Look over their whole bodies. They will notice you looking at them, then you will make eye contact. This initial eye contact doesn't betray anything. People generally can't fake it because it happens too quickly. It's the moment of truth. You either both know you're attracted to each other or not. After the initial introduction, assuming that one of you had the guts to make a move, you have to be open and soft in order to send the right signals about who you are and what you're all about. Be attentive to what this new possible lover wants out of you and deliver it. Affection and lust are the two sides of desire. Use them both. The next juicy step is the touch. At first, you'll touch in incidental ways relative to the conversation, but when you do touch with love and fire in your eyes, do it out of tenderness and empathy. Touch your lover as you touch yourself, with love and passion. A great lover never stops being affectionate. Basically, the factors Desmond Morris defines as sexually and romantically desirable are as follows: youthful appearance/health, a fresh, unwrinkled face and a strong, tight body, which means lots of curvy soft flesh for women, lots of lean muscle for men. Men must look like masculine men, women must look like feminine women according to what the current cultural definitions are. Men and women must act according to their cultural gender stereotype. Women must be soft, sultry, and nice. Men must be strong, tough, noble, morally good, ambitious, and achievement-oriented. Phallus displays. Modern American women get boob jobs and color their hair to blonde. Blondes have more fun, to accentuate their sexuality. In days of old, men wore swords and other things to supposedly symbolize their virile penises. We don't do that nowadays, but we do other things like drive big cars, carry big wallets, wear tight pants, build our muscles up to imply we have virile penises as well, etc. Status signals. We flaunt our wealth, position, fame, and status in the community to try to appear powerful to women who we hope will be attracted to us based on these things. Note that this is an artificial form of attraction based on societal standards as opposed to raw, primal attraction, but it works for some people. In reading a book about geishas, I noticed that this was what the entire relationship with the geisha was based on. The wealthiest men in the community were expected to hire geishas because they were the top of the line hookers. According to their status, the lower class hookers wouldn't do. Demographic signals. What this means is that you dress or make yourself look like the subgroup you identify with, so others in that subgroup will see you and hopefully be attracted to you. The preppy will dress a certain way, the punker will try to look radical, the Christian will wear a cross necklace and a Jesus t-shirt, the jock will wear a sports jersey, the cool dude will wear a Nike logo, and so on and so forth. Availability/hitched or not looking signals. The wedding ring is the most obvious hitched signal. A girl driving a Camaro is more likely to be single than a girl driving a minivan. The most common availability versus hitched signals are attention to dress and look. The single person on the hunt is impeccably groomed and dressed. He or she is always looking around, smiling and flirting, as opposed to others who don't look, make eye contact, smile, flirt, or even bother trying to look good much. Purity of love versus sexual motives. The virginal good girl or good guy looking for love will try to act subtle, nice, and discreet, while the maven or player will be in your face with sexual suggestions and gestures. Another book that deals with the way we package ourselves clothing-wise and behavior-wise is Body Packaging, A Guide to Human Sexual Display by Julian Robinson. He basically looks at different cultures throughout history and discusses how clothes are more about status and sexual signaling than function to protect us from the elements. Generally, the more skin you show and the more you accentuate your sex organs or breasts, the more you're looking for a lover. Love based on status. A lot of people are looking for love regardless of whether it's cultural brainwash or something deep inside of us, the need to be loved and give love back. Most of us believe in soulmates, the one person out there that's the perfect fit. When we fail after being rejected asking someone out, going out on a date, or after a relationship, we often say to ourselves that they weren't the right person anyway, but we hardly ever say maybe we're not capable of perfect love or even generic love, maybe it doesn't exist for most people except for a few, maybe it's an illusion since we're all really loners stuck in our heads, our first priority being to please ourselves, so it's very difficult to fall in love and keep it anyway even if you do find that magical person, because it's constantly a struggle between your selfishness and pleasing this person, so think long and hard before you decide you want it. Love could be largely a sociological artifact of our culture. The sexual need is the only thing that's primally certain. We all need sex, that's for sure, that's the biological imperative, but where does love enter it, if at all? If you could have great primal sex for the rest of your life with emotionally unattached but sexy lovers, would you still feel lonely and unloved? I suspect a lot of girls would, but a lot of guys would love it, hassle-free sex with a willing harem, then no obligation to be nice and romantic to them. Some men want love, but a lot of them really just want sex without the hassles of love, so that leaves the courtship game a very muddy proposal at best. She wants Prince Charming while he's really just a skin dog who wants to get off. I believe most people don't get the pure love they really want, they get a compromise percentage of it. She will end up with an average guy who's really a sex addict underneath his nice exterior, as all men are, and he will end up with a nice, naive, idealistic girl who thinks the guy is all nice, will whisk her away like a prince, but in reality he's really just a dog like every other man, even though he will try his damnedest to hide it and keep his nice exterior intact to his girl, but inside he's constantly wrestling with controlling his sex drive. This is the dilemma all married men face, compromising their sexual attraction to virtually all attractive girls they come across, plus the fact that they share a house, hence their free time with their wife, which means they can't freely pursue their sexual whims in an exploratory manner because she's always around, and by her very presence she alters his true primal nature. When you get right down to it, we all have a fantasy image in our minds of our ideal lover who doesn't exist in the real world, and at some point in time we settle for someone less, which is self-defeating in a way because we're always thinking in the back of our minds that there's someone better out there. This happens all the time in marriages. Two less than ideal super fantasy people get together and expect or hope that some magical chemistry will occur and they will live a transcendent life, maybe when they have kids, maybe when they buy a house, maybe when they love each other enough, etc. But the truth is that they just continue living average lives, except that now it's with another average person rather than alone. I saw a kind of funny but revealing documentary about looking for love called 20 Dates, which was about a guy in Los Angeles going out on dates with 20 different girls to try to capture the mating game on film. Some of them didn't know they were being filmed. It was pretty good if you ever get a chance to see it, to see how imperfect the process of love is and how just about everybody holds out for a hero or a knockout. Almost nobody wants to go out with a middle-of-the-road, average nice guy or girl, but the truth is that the large majority of the population is middle-of-the-road average. So my final conclusion is, if you want a prize, you'd better be a prize. If you're an average girl with colored hair and cosmetic boobs, the heroes will see a superficial, phony chick trying to look cool. By the very act of doing this, you reveal who you really are, phony, frivolous, and brainwashed trying to act trendy. There's no true original character there which I'm hooked on, a girl being herself without pretense. If you're an average guy, don't expect a beautiful, soft, nice, funny, easygoing Amazon who pays her own way and loves sex. JaneGoodall.org. The Fast Rules of Courtship. I have a good time with girls. I'm not just trying to get into her pants. Whenever we're fooling around at the bar, girls come around because we're just having fun, no bullshit or sexual tension involved. Bartender. Courtship is the old-fashioned word for dating, except that whereas nowadays some people date recreationally for casual fun, many people didn't have that leisure in the olden days. When they became of age, the logical progression of life was to get married and have a family, so it was more direct back then. When you were courting, you were looking for a wife with no messing around beyond that objective. Love finds you, you don't find it. It exists everywhere, usually in the corners of life. Your only sure thing is to be the best you can be and go out and live your life joyfully, then it will find you out of the blue one day. The fastest rule of courtship beyond mutual initial attraction is respect. If a guy or girl do not treat you with proper respect like a lady or gentleman right off, don't make allowances for them. Leopards rarely change what's deep in their soul. Callous, hurtful people are angry and frustrated, taking it out on others. It's hard to replace that anger with love. I believe that all people with bad attitudes or condescending attitudes are really angry people. I believe that if someone feels good about their lives, they don't have any need to feel superior to others or try to rub their feeling of superiority in their faces. Yet I see these pop culture clones all the time, who are really messed up inside, try to act like they're superior to everyone else because they think they're a supermodel or look trendy or something. I stay far away from all these people. I don't care how beautiful or trendy they are. Most young, good-looking people are not good people. They are arrogant. Wait until their looks start to go before you see them soften a bit, but some never do. My point is that if someone treats you less than stellar in the courtship process, why waste your time? People are generally very selective about who they are willing to date based on socioeconomic status and look. Most people think quite highly of themselves. They want someone in their league, so to speak. For you as the courter, when you come across these phony people stuck on status, even though no one would ever admit they were like this, avoid them. But the undeniable truth is that you will probably end up with someone from the same socioeconomic background as you. Do not have unrealistic expectations of what you want in a partner, because you will never meet that person, and if you do, will you meet their standard? Think about someone who will make you feel good and flatter you enough to make you look good. Never show desperation in the courting game. It scares people off. Don't come off too dependent and clingy, nor too independent and aloof. Be a bit of both, right in the middle. Take up a new sport, hobby, course, or go off on a new adventure. Good courtship practices are never rushed. Do it slow and easy. Talk a bit, then listen. Make contact, regardless of how pretentious or superficial. If there's chemistry, it won't matter. Don't expect too much right off. Don't come on too strong at the beginning. You might scare him or her off. Don't spend your time hanging around with your same-sex friends if you want to be romantic with someone or find a special someone. Love yourself. This is the base to loving her. Make love your top priority. Give compliments. Do planned activities together, like going to the beach, to the mall, etc. When she talks about herself and you sit there and empathize, this is how she will fall in love with you for real. Then after your first real talk, you will have won the right to kiss her deeply and she will swoon and love it. Ask questions about her past. Show her you're curious and interested in her world, her life, her dreams, but don't be too nosy or pressure her to talk. If you sense she's uncomfortable about some topic of discussion, Stop talking about it. Feed your object of affection. Drink enough to get tipsy together. Don't try to mold your object of affection. Treat your lover with respect. Always speak gently. Listen more than you speak. Be open, honest, and sincere. Your physical look, demeanor, and voice reveal more than what you say, or at least people judge other people by these things intuitively more so than what they say. Apologize if you screw up. Don't have a need to be right. It's better to be loved than to be right. Focus on love, not your ego. Be a neat, clean person. Be educated enough to handle life's basic affairs. Earn enough money to live comfortably. If you sense anxiety, back off until you feel it's safe again. Be polite. Share your cares and fears with her. Listen to her cares and fears. Try to gratify her needs, desires, and musings. It shows consideration. Money can't buy love, so don't try to buy it with expensive gifts. It just puts her off. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't lie. Don't try to change her or save her. Keep it light-hearted. Books about courtship are at hashtag 306.734 or HQ801 at the library. The Chase Guide. Chase a woman of virtue, not a woman who gives you her vagina. Young men's love then lies. Not truly in their hearts but in their eyes. Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. The above statement confirms the general truth that men fall in love by the physical look of the girl, so you have to look slim, healthy, young, somewhat fresh, and nice, as evident by somewhat tight clothes that show your form. Men are like this too to women, except that their display signals are generally signs of their wealth and status in the so-called real world. Muscle size and height, the ancient indicators, are still there on a primal level, but many girls these days take the cultural cues of sizing a man up for his monetary worth with how desirable he will be as a provider, as opposed to a soulmate, an empathetic soul who listens while she talks. When you see someone you like, say a few words to feel the temperature, so to speak. Tone of voice will tell you everything. If you can't meet someone spontaneously, you orchestrate an event like drop your handkerchief or meet in the guise of sales/business, promoting something with a business card or an invitation to come to church to find God. Everybody likes to be chased in the game of love. Start it off with little gifts, little compliments, a romantic card, a love letter, a gift of flowers, a good meal, a glass of wine, the sweet fragrance of flowers, perfume or cologne, makeup. Nice clothes, good grooming, the softness of expression on the face, keeping a picture of her close, a look of health, wealth, romantic spirit, and youth. Show some exposed naked flesh, dance freely and joyfully, show you like music, invite her to a concert, have a good stereo in your car, sing her a love song you wrote, have a free countenance about yourself, generally show any quiet attentions that announce intent but not so bold as to be perceived as crude. All attraction comes down to one thing: is he or she friendly and open or not? Does she want to keep talking, or does she give terse, short answers? Where would the type of person you want to meet hang out at? Go there. If you go out with a girl and you see early on that she's trying to control you or manipulate you, in my opinion, this is an inherent trait. There's something wrong with her. She will never stop trying to control the situation around her. Get out now to avoid a hard life with a prima donna, crybaby manipulator. Women know body language. If you like her, be close to her, have your body open, look at her and smile at her. Project confidence by slowing down, talking slower, moving slower, not being fidgety. Talk to women in a way that stimulates their sexual imagination. A woman won't get into an unmade bed. Have a clean-looking bedroom. Prepare your place for a guest in case a girl decides to come over. Keep a few nice things in the way of food and drink so you can offer them to guests. Keep some condoms in the house. Learn to cook a few good meals. Go to number 641 at the library. Prepare a romantic meal. Learn how to massage. Don't have things in your house that are frivolous. Don't buy into that home decor crap. It makes you look brainwashed. Just keep a clean, functional house. The prize is you, not some dinky crap you buy to try to impress your date that you got culture, whatever that is. Walk on the outside of the sidewalk because it shows you're ready to protect your girl from wayward traffic. Don't try to hide the fact that you're making a move. It's completely normal to ask girls out. Keep it simple. Be yourself. Don't use a fake image or line. Most people, except for monogamous Christians, look at new people as either long-term relationship material or sex material. You have to make the choice about which category you're in. They're mutually exclusive. If you're courting a girl for marriage, don't expect sex until around engagement or marriage time. If you want sex, don't be surprised when she gets engaged to another guy. Nowadays it's less threatening to ask for an email address than a phone number. Don't push love too quickly. Just push friendship. Try to have fun on dates and in being together in general. When the conversation quiets down, that's the time to look into her face, see if she's game, then stroke her hair and kiss her. Go as far as the both of you decide. Don't force it. Always keep up the fun, interesting, unpredictable behavior. Give love to get love. Coming on strong. The true test of love is always how nice and kind he is. If you decide you want someone, don't hold back, but don't smother them either. Make him feel unique, special, and loved. Say his name several times when you talk to him. Tell him he's handsome, intelligent, and a kind, nice man. This will start a self-fulfilling prophecy within him and he will start acting that way. Make him feel important, like he matters to you, which he does. Save criticism for later. Never insult. Ignore negative behavior unless it's blatant. Sacrifice bland niceness for curiosity, passion, and desire. Don't nag. Don't be a bitch. When he puts you down, bring him down to size by meekly repeatedly saying, "Who made you the king of the world?" You have to show you got some backbone and are not a pushover, because he will interpret this as a good quality for the mother of his kids. If he's worth it, be gracious. He will drop the foolishness, and if he thinks you're worth it, he will stay with you and not care about the so-called put-out question. Most men want to bond with a soulmate just as much as you do. You don't necessarily have to cheapen yourself by laying down for him to do it to you. Some men cling to the Christian ideal of no sex before marriage. Whatever the case, don't tease then cut it off at the moment of truth. He will drop you instantly. If it feels right, do it. Try to make the first time special and romantic. There are subtle pressures you can put on your beau about getting married. Take him to as many weddings as possible. Go to romantic places where other couples are being romantic and get caught up in the mood, for example, nightclubs with slow music geared for couples, or restaurants where lovers go for the romantic view/atmosphere. Babysit a few kids and take him along to public places with them. Act like a family with the kids. Double date with happily married couples. Gradually, subtly, show him how good you are around the house. Feed him with home-cooked meals, clean his pad up a little but not so much as to threaten his freedom. Help him with other practical things and share your knowledge, for instance on how to save money on the phone bill, etc. Make him feel that you're not only beautiful but useful to have around. Invite him over for candlelight dinners, then give him a bubble bath and a massage. Wear white a lot. Finally, tell him something ridiculous to see where he stands, like you were offered a job out of state or your mother wants you to move to California to take care of your grandmother. What is his reaction? Does he want you to stay or doesn't seem to care? Either way. The next stage is the expectation of marriage. You might talk about it, others might exert subtle pressures, and you will see the world screaming at you to be a couple, i.e. TV commercials, movies, etc. all geared at couples. If you want a man to fall for you, you have to discover what makes him tick emotionally, then push those buttons. If he's a nature boy, go nature girl. If he's a nerd, go nerd, etc. Study his mother and be like her. Get him to open up and talk. Do this by acting innocent, pure and caring. It will succor them every time. Ask about his innocent boyhood, childhood days, pets, hobbies, boyhood friends, school, music, those emotional things that hit the nostalgic bone. Then relieve these things, like go back to the lake he hung out as a kid and spend a few hazy sunny days there. Act like the proper lady you are always. Be mentally stimulating. Learn about his job and ask questions. Use a bit of casual slang whenever possible and speak proper English the way they taught you in school if you can remember that far. No double negatives at the very least, i.e. I don't know nothing. Always be proper, think lady and / or gentleman. That's you, putting your true, best face forward, the way you were brought up, to be a dignified person contributing to the good in society. That's your attitude in life. The strength of a good relationship lies in the ability to compromise and say, I'm sorry. When you finally marry, remember that besides your funeral, it's the only other occasion in your life when your friends and family will come out with bells and whistles on to acknowledge you en masse, so make it a good one and videotape it for romantic memories later on. Just remember that marriage is not an end to the romance and you don't automatically live happily ever after. You have to keep working at it, as the cliche goes and as I talk about throughout the book. Consider the following indicators as evidence that the relationship is getting serious. You've connected intimately and you're both comfortable with it. You spend unstructured time together as opposed to a date. You like being together. Your friends consider you a couple. You expect to be with each other on the weekend. You're talking about a future together. You are accountable to each other, checking the other's movements in life. You refer to yourself as an item. You start to meet each other's friends and family. Openly express affection for each other. You start to buy things together like a joint radio or a TV. You've been away together on a weekend or vacation. Chapter 2. Contrary to the myth, the first rule is to be nice. The lie of the cool, alpha male bad boy. Only young, naive women want bad boys for the excitement, but bad boys generally aren't monogamous. They're angry and violent. They can't hold a job. They're addicted to getting high. They do criminal things for the lure of easy money. They want to control their women. Most women over 30 who have dated the cool, alpha male, dashing party realize they're no long-term, monogamous partner material. Intimacy and warmth. Even old geezers want meaningful human contact. They know it won't lead to sex or love, but they still want it. Work at an old people's home for a while and see how needy they are for small talk, at least the ones with sound minds. If you want love, start with warm, friendly contact. Smile. Make small talk. When I was really young, like about 17 or so, I went out into the world brainwashed by all the movies I had seen up until then, which made me think that the guy is supposed to go for sex, like be assertive to aggressive about it when dating a girl. The real me just wanted to be friendly. Let the sex and romance come naturally, if ever, as the result of having developed trust and friendship. I had a few stupid, embarrassing years there before I figured out it's not like those lame brain actors I saw in movies who were always pushing for sex. Just be yourself. Develop a friendship as you would with someone of your own gender or with someone you obviously have no romantic sexual interest in, like me at 20 years old developing a friendship with a 60-year-old woman. I had to learn the hard way that real life is not like what you see on TV. Take the corny sex moves out of it. Try to be a friend if you meet someone you really like. That way, you'll minimize your chances of screwing up. Love first and you shall be loved. The absolute golden rule in the search for love is to wait until you see the right one, then go for it. Everything else is noise, even this entire article. After you find her, love first and you shall be loved. Care for his or her feelings. Burn these 2 sentences into your brain and never, ever forget them for the rest of your life. Off the top of my head, no matter how strong the passion, Don't rush it too much. Play it cool. Let it develop naturally. Even if it feels right, don't get married for at least 3 months. There's something to be said for passionate affairs. They fizzle out just like a rocket. Next, don't be too nosy. If he wants to volunteer information about himself, he will in his own good time. Finally, don't rush to judgment. Give people a chance, like at least 3 dates. Many people take love far too casually in our society. They go out on a date, feel something, think they're falling in love, then 6 months later, it's over. Slow down a bit. Don't give in too easily, especially the women. Let the guy miss you. Let him be a hunter. Don't call him every day. Let him call you. The man wants to make the woman happy. Let him make you happy, or at least let him think that he's making you happy. He will feel successful for the moment, then back off a bit. It's your job to reel him back in slowly with seduction. Find peaceful love. Most people in capitalist society are selfish and materialistic, men and women alike. If you want true, peaceful love, stay away from vain, frivolous, empty, selfish girls who dream of being models or actresses because they love only themselves and will use you until the next sucker comes along with a bigger wallet, aka girls who think they're all that. Not all girls are nice, although most girls are intelligent and manipulative enough to talk softly and act gooey in order to get what they want. Don't necessarily go with your initial intuitions about someone. For girls, watch out for guys who are too ambitious, too workaholic, with too much of a need to prove themselves somewhere, be it playing a sport, at work, or just being a hotshot in general. A guy's car is his makeup and fashion. Just like vain girls like fashion, vain guys like their cars. Avoid guys who love their cars and guys who measure life by the size of bank account/muscles. I've known girls that seemed nice, but once the first bit of adversity hit or they didn't get their way, they became trivial, self-centered bitches. There are plenty of prima donna types around who think they're all that, better than the rest of the human race, and that all men instinctively bow down to them and will be their fools, but most of these women eventually end up alone. You can usually pick out a prima donna if you come across a girl who's always fashionably dressed with makeup and painted nails, who thinks she can get what she wants by smiling at guys. These types of girls stroke their egos by getting guys to do things for them, like asking him for favors, money, etc. The more they can wrap the guy around their finger, the better they feel. This is her entire personality, her exterior look, which she thinks can get her everything. If she's got no true tested character behind it, with some manner of humility and a little bit of compassion for all the sadness and adversity in the world, she's living in some trivial, self-centered bubble, and I try to stay away from people like that. Beware of them. They might lure you and then try to use you before they get tired of you, then spit you out and move on to the next guy with a bigger wallet. Next, avoid girls in too much control of themselves, like feminists or any girl with a few college degrees who thinks she's an advanced, independent, happening babe because she thinks she's a cool chick making it in a man's world, living large as though she's posing for the cover of Cosmo mag. Avoid girls who think their sexuality will get them anything. Sexuality is only fine for a season, then you have to face each other as you really are. Anybody who uses sexuality as a weapon is a low-level person. There are plenty out there who will try to attract you by showing some flesh, which is fine if just sex is the game, but for love, you need true warmth and an original character. Avoid naive girls who will get too dependent on you. Find a nice girl who's not too ambitious, who's probably working an average job somewhere. You gotta find that right balance of a girl who takes care of herself but not overly so to the point of vanity, somebody just nice and pleasant, being her real self with no serious agenda in the world. Everybody else is too complicated and will hassle you too much. Find a happy, uncomplicated girl being who she really is, living an original, inspired life, and stick with her. There are a few around, just as there are plenty of trivial, lost, phony, useless girls around, so pick the right one up front and worship her, because in this world of cold hearts, when you find the real thing, It's rare, and you will best serve yourself if you give her all the loving you got inside, and she will give it all back to you multiplied many times over. For girls, find a guy not in a money, boring profession like lawyer, accountant, etc. Many doctors are duds, married to their jobs. Look for a guy doing something he likes, helping people somehow, like with animals, a teacher, or a blue-collar type like a paramedic. Guys who work in offices are boring. A guy without a serious agenda working a steady job is better than an ambitious guy hooked on work. Your best bet is a self-made business owner doing his own thing and enjoying it without so much money that he can afford to be arrogant, or without such high pressures on the job that he's married to his business. There is only one true end to dating. Forget the money. Gold diggers always pay by being neglected or enslaved. Divorce court is always hell even if you win. Everybody wants a generous soul, the heart of gold. If someone is nice to animals, they can still be a cheapskate. Look for someone giving of their time, energy, and money on you. Listen to love song playlists on YouTube. Being in love is a state of being. Go on YouTube, listen to love song playlists, or find a love song radio station at tunein.com and ask yourself, is that you? Is that what you want? Do you want to be what those songs are about, or is too soppy for you? Chapter 3. What do we really want? Who is Mr. or Ms. Right? What is love? You have to define it, and define what a relationship is in your eyes. Girls are brought up to seek out marriage. Guys aren't, but they want love too. It's just that guys have other things going on besides relationships. A relationship could be a status thing for a guy. He doesn't want to propose or get too close unless he feels like a winner, feels like he has made it in society and can afford the diamond ring. A lot of guys are like this. They back off because they feel that they don't measure up to society's version of what a successful man is, and won't commit until they reach it. Love is not about rules. It just happens. Love isn't a question, an agreement, or a contract. In its purest form, you either love someone or you don't. The wedding is just an afterthought. If you can't answer that question about someone immediately, but instead have to weigh the pros with the cons, you are not in love. Are you happy when you're with him or her? Does he care about me and try to make me feel good? True romantic love is sharing your life because you really want to, not muckling onto someone because you feel empty and lonely. If you try to fall in love for the wrong reasons, which is out of an empty feeling inside rather than to try to share your life with someone to expand each other's happiness, then, at some point in time, you're setting yourself up for relationship failure. Strong relationships come from people sharing their lives together, not one or the other, or both being dependent on each other for something they're lacking. Most men are meat and potatoes type of people, while most women have this delusion gleaned from all that indoctrination by Martha Stewart and frivolous women's magazines that things like home decor, fashion, trends, and even how food is prepared matters. Myself personally, I can cook my own concoctions of vegetables and meat without ever reading a recipe book, but a lot of women spend endless hours trying to cook these fancy-ass dishes. This is where the twain will never meet. I think home decor is the biggest waste of time and money around. I like my house bare. It's a badge of honor because it proves I'm not materialistic, just spiritual, aesthetic, inspired and carnal. My beauty is for life itself, but women have been brought up to think that beauty is what they call this woman stuff in the home. I like Spartan surroundings, but women have always tried to add a woman's touch to whatever home they're in. What do? Ignore it. Let them play with their little trinkets. You have to give them this little delusion that they're beautifying the home, even though you know it all means nothing. The experience of life as lived is what matters, not all this crap most women are brainwashed by regarding the so-called home arts, but you have to give a little bit. Meet your wife or girlfriend halfway. Most of us under about the age of 35 who are looking for Mr. or Ms. Right will never find him or her because you are not Mr. or Ms. Right. You don't have your own identity yet. You don't know who you are, where you're going, and have no real idea of what makes you feel good about life day after day. Until you do, There is no way you can hook up with someone with the intention of sharing a glorious life together because you're still a lost soul or at least somewhat confused, and it's my belief that you can't be a great lover and commit to a relationship successfully until you have a good grasp of your own individual identity. Otherwise it will be a tough marriage while you deal with your personal problems of identity or divorce city. Beauty and physical look account for almost everything in initial attraction, but they are only skin deep. Beautiful people are often vain, arrogant, and frivolous. There are only a few people around who are beautiful on the outside and have kind, gentle souls on the inside. Anybody who is vain enough to put up a profile on a tackily named website like beautifulpeople.net is not someone who I would want to date. Some people say money has nothing to do with love, but at least 40% of all women say a man's material worth is worth more to them as marriage material than a sparkling personality, good looks, or a warm heart. These women say they don't let the guy know that though. They reject everybody until they come across a guy with some money, then they act like they really love him even though they are more interested in his money. The best way to know if you're with Mr. or Ms. Right is time and patience. Don't rush it. Take it slow. Be yourself. The truth always comes out with time. No matter how smitten you are with someone, give the relationship time to see them at all different times of the day in a variety of situations. The bottom line of character is ethics. Does your lover have a code of ethics they live by that is dedicated to not infringing on the lives of others and trying to be the best person they can be for their own sake as individuals? People can generally spot phonies and liars. These facades can't stand the test of time. If you're looking to impress someone with lies and a fake image up front, remember, they will discover the real you soon enough. If you can't present the real you to the world, why bother looking for love? You have other problems. Fall in love with who a person is, what they believe in as opposed to their image or outer look. All of us are used goods, especially after the age of 30, but that doesn't mean we're obsolete. The point is, don't be a perfectionist in looking for your soulmate because we all get slightly used up as we age. Used goods can still be great stuff. Give slightly used up looking people a chance. They might turn out to be great antiques. Everybody is flawed to some extent. Look for the heart of the person. Is he genuinely nice and kind? A line in the poem Desiderata says, avoid loud and aggressive people because they are vexations to the spirit. I believe in this sentiment. I feel that all flashy people trying to act trendy and fashionable and being loud to boot have something missing inside. Generally, the more image conscious and flashy a person is, the less I like them and the more I try to avoid them. Avoid flashy, trendy, loud people in your search for Mr. or Ms. Right. People who appear emotionally dead on the outside could be perfectionists with an anal retentive bent on being in control of everything to the point of compulsion. Normal people show different emotions. People who keep it all in are generally tight, anxiety-ridden people. If you come across someone attractive who seems to be tense all the time and keeps it all in, tread carefully. Although the floodgates could open, these people rarely change. It's in their nature to be tense and analytical like this. They make great providers but not great companions. The capitalist world is full of such men who have been programmed to achieve success all their lives, so they dedicate themselves to it with a perfectionist's zeal, and this what they live by, this invisible standard they have inside always telling them to push and never be satisfied. It's good to be ambitious and achievement-oriented, but if you do it to the point of obsession without having mindless fun and relaxing in life, you lose. Men are taught to solve problems, not to listen, understand, and sympathize. You have to accept most men as like this. You could open them up to be more relaxed, personable and empathetic. You have to accept the fact that men were indoctrinated this way, and over time, it leads to a kind of defense mechanism. They know they just have to act duncy and unemotional and they will be left alone. Men are taught to be from Mars, to be loners destroying ourselves to make money and benefit society somehow. It's called achievement. Men are programmed to achieve. This supersedes everything, even love. How do I know? Because I'm talking about myself and most men I know. We are not brought up to be lovers. That's a fact. Accept it in your search for Mr. Right. Men are fixers in the logical sense of the word. They want to see a problem and fix it. They don't want to deal with drama and convoluted relationship problems. Try to be straight with the guy you like and avoid melodrama with him, because if you act too soppy, he will think you're too much trouble and bail. Most men are insecure, and because of this they are anxious around a woman they are trying to get to know and please. They might do silly things to try to compensate for this feeling of insecurity, to prove to themselves and you that they are larger than they actually are. If you really like a guy, try to calm him down and let him know he doesn't have to prove how macho, worldly, and successful he is to you. Tell him you like him as is, being himself. Men don't always want to be in control. They want their women to show some backbone, take some initiative, and take the pressure off them both in and out of the bedroom. You will never find a perfect relationship. A great relationship is one of compromise. Most men do not want a wife who has let her looks go and reminds them they are middle-aged duds. If you degenerate to middle-aged haggis, don't expect loyalty or love. A lot of men will bail because they are only human. They have status and money at work, but they see Deadsville at home. They will find a younger chick. Guys are generally not empathetic or warm and loving in a cozy way. They provide money or do work but generally don't openly show love. This is the way they were brought up. They are as emotional as women but simply don't show it. It starts out as a macho code but becomes a convenient defense mechanism because they just have to act superficial and they will be left alone. Guys know they should connect with their wives emotionally, but many don't for a variety of reasons. It seems so much easier to hide behind the computer, TV, the newspaper, etc. If you can't get a guy to open up to be warm and loving at the beginning of a relationship, don't expect him to do it later. Train him now to be open, warm, cuddly, and to talk about things with you, or forever expect him to live in a separate world, not sharing it much with you. Guys know that by ignoring their wives and doing other activities, they make the wife feel lonely, depressed, and used. Don't scold a guy. Just let him know you need hands-on loving every day. Befriend him rather than antagonize him. Leave your spouse free to pursue their lives without nagging them about it, but tell him or her that at the end of the day, you want a relationship with some love and affection to it. When you find the perfect mate, happiness will not automatically bloom, because love is only part of a great life. The other bigger part is to have a strong sense of identity about yourself, which propels you to burn off inspired energy every day. This is where the bulk of happiness lies. A great relationship is the icing on the cake after this. Mr. or Ms. Right is someone who wants to live life the same way you do. You have the same habits and hobbies. The human quality checklist. The qualities Mr. or Ms. Right should have are to be patient. Try to understand your spouse. Deal with problems and fights in a relaxed way. Be thankful for every day you live. Never take the relationship for granted. Love each other. Share your lives together. Everybody wants to be picked out of the crowd as someone special and repeatedly told that. Romance, to hug tightly and feel loved. A mate who wants to please them. To be respected. Somebody honest who says what they feel. Somebody who loves you for being who you are. To be loved by your lover totally, with all his heart. The types of mate everybody is looking for is somebody financially stable who pays their own way. Healthy looking. Nice face. Good conversationalist. Knowledgeable about the world. Kind person. Wants to improve in life. Not a control freak. Lets his mate lead sometimes. What men and women want. 1. People want to be in an exciting relationship with a dreamy lover. I want to be desired. All men want young women. All women want tall men. Take that to the bank. The greatest fear is the fear of not being loved, of living a life without affection. Girls like full head of hair. Not overweight. Homeowner. Has money. Everybody really wants the same things. True love. A lot of money. A beautiful, strong, healthy body that never quits. Eternal youth. Self-respect. The ability to live their lives freely. Self-expression. Security, a stable spouse who is not moody. The respect of friends. The admiration of people in general. To be treated tenderly and cared about. Attention. A loyal, humble spouse who will do as told. Someone who can be molded to suit you. A stable family life. Respect, fair treatment. Pleasure, happiness, excitement. The things women want in a man are: a provider. Ability as a caring father. Health. Wealth. Creative, fun lifestyle. After watching an anthropological show about mating, the overwhelming criteria for people all over the world is firstly, immediate handsomeness/beauty, namely a muscular, lean body with a pleasant face in men, a slim body for women and a pretty face. On a civilized level, they want somebody intelligent with common sense, a sense of humor, sensitive but not overly soppy. On a primal level, you have a fantasy image of some gorgeous person who you want to love you and wrap their arms around you tightly forever. I saw an independent film called Wrap Your Arms Around Me about some girl spewing off about her life and how she wanted somebody to wrap their arms around her, protect her and love her. This is what men and women really want, a perfect cuddly love as strong as the love with your pet. As far as physical beauty goes, we all want young beautiful mates, but we're very forgiving, especially women. They hardly ever get their ideal male specimen because there are so few of them, so they take an average guy with a half-decent heart. People have different physical preferences. In general, everybody says they hate people of the opposite sex who spend too much time on themselves, like the cosmetics beauty queen or the die-hard bodybuilder, because they're too self-absorbed. Beyond this is what kind of life will I have with him or her. Women look for material wealth, which is why money and status are so powerful in our society. Many women go with nerdy-looking guys for the money factor, which beats out a pretty boy with nothing to offer. Most women are indeed practical, but the older they get, up until about 44 when they start to get real, the more dipsier, because they get more desperate in the search for love. Within all of us is a piece of beauty and innocence called the soul, which was pure when you were born, but since then for most people has been clouded over by cosmetic commercials, frivolous magazines, the lure of success in the world, the need to prove oneself, the need for macho, addictions, excesses, human weakness, fat, disharmony, etc. Most people, regardless of how off-center they are themselves, know true inner beauty when they see it in just one look, but it's really quite rare because most of us are brainwashed by the forces of the world, which tell us to act cool, with it, exciting, successful, etc., which jade us when the true simplicity of it is, why can't you just be yourself? I recently saw a so-called beauty pageant and didn't feel true, inner warmth or straight inner beauty coming out of any of the girls. They were all so rehearsed and stilted, trying to act like a product out of a frivolous women's magazine, the World Peace Foundation and the Wall Street Journal combined. This is the problem. We're all walking around trying to be cool and politically correct as defined by what we pick up from the mass media, pop culture society around us, yet at the same time, we're all looking for the gem that hasn't been spoiled by all this. Most people think they're more fascinating than they really are, and most people are putting on some kind of act, not being who they really are in their true souls. They're living out the brainwash of the world. True inner beauty is someone being themselves, living by their pure souls, not trying to fake it with hair coloring, cool clothes, big cars, piercings, sleazy clothes, big money, big chest, etc. All I want is a beautiful, nice person, not brainwashed by the forces of the world. People want to be loved for who they really are, not for what you can give them or what they can give you. Beyond outer look, everybody wants somebody they can feel comfortable with and be themselves with as they really are when alone, without having to put an act on. This has to do entirely with finding someone like you. Everybody wants an opposite sex version of themselves, Someone cut from the same cloth. I could care less about somebody all done up in makeup and fashionable clothes, I want somebody down to earth who's real and warm. Everybody's a mirror. If they see themselves as beautiful, they want an equitable beauty. If they see themselves as nerdy, they want a nerd like themselves. Surveys done on people where they were asked to pick a fantasy lifetime partner almost always yielded somebody like them, not necessarily the most beautiful or the coolest looking. People intuitively seek out somebody like themselves. Beyond this, men want a virgin as fresh and young after her first period as possible because she's still innocent to the world. They want an innocent kind of beauty with big breasts who's a slut in bed. Men look for somebody who looks healthy enough to have children and be a good mother. In general, guys are simpler than women in the search for a mate. Men generally want the following in descending order: youthful beauty, slimness, beautiful body, a sense of inner beauty, niceness, good sex, someone who doesn't talk too much in a phony bubbly way, friendship, kindness, love, honesty and trust, sense of humor, faithfulness and loyalty, respect, intelligence, dependability, talk, gentleness, doing things together, emotional stability, money. Women, on the other hand, are way more picky. They're the ones with the lists who sit around, dream about a dream guy and write out all the specific details in their diaries. Women want guys who are main characters in romance novels, good looking, long hair, muscular, tanned, a great job and / or lots of money in the bank, committed to one woman only, an easy charming, gentle bedside manner, a nice smile and a gentle nature. Of course, these are largely fantasies, but this is what people really want. The girl's general dream guy is tall, dark and handsome, or tall, blonde and handsome. Has lots of money and a cool sports car that will impress her friends. Ambitious. Dominant, alpha male quality. Emotionally open. Emotionally generous. Nice guy looking for wife. Clean, neat, good teeth, clean shaven. Family centered, wants kids. Loves his mother. Affectionate but not overbearing. Masculine gentle voice. Friendly, kind, loving. Good cook. Stable temperament. Is a good dancer, good kisser. Athletic, nice body. Good at romance, passionate, sensual. Likes to talk and makes me comfortable. Honesty and trust. Sense of humor. Faithfulness and loyalty. Dependable. Has an artsy nature to him. Has a bit of the adventurous, extrovert flair in him. Not a bad boy but dangerous, mysterious and exciting. Chivalrous gentleman, no cursing. Is a good friend. Easygoing manner, optimistic. Educated, intelligent, wise, speaks well. Moral, honest, religious, monogamous. Not too much booze, drugs, golf, or sports on TV. Ambitious, has a goal in life. Likes to go out and do the typical couple things like go to the zoo, park, movies, etc. Good sex. Emotional stability. Able to laugh. Self-confident. Values intimacy. Has integrity. Reasonably attractive. Respects women. Is not narcissistic, self-absorbed. Can change and grow. Women hate guys too quick and aggressive with sex who are uneducated dummies on top of it with no ambition to do something worthy with their lives. What men and women want too. Men want sex, love, and attention. Women want financial security, protection, and attention. Most people want a comforting sense of belonging and acceptance. Many women don't see sex with a man as a source of pleasure. They see it as a wifely duty and a bribery tool to get what they want. Men try real hard to romantically seduce women, but how real is it? Do most women simply act their way through the seduction? We all want the power and thrill of arousing lust in another person. There are no simple answers. Play it by ear. Don't take anyone too seriously. What men and women want. 3. Here's what a chick said on some blog about her dream guy. He has a healthy, active life. He's not a weird computer-bound loner. He's got strong arms to hold me and good stamina to give me pleasure with. He's got a great sense of humor. He's whimsical and attractive and treats me right. He's just wonderful. He seems tailor-made for me. I wanna wear him clothes like a shirt. Chick on TV show. Men are generally less picky than women. They want a nice, pretty girl with some original spark of life to her, but girls want everything, which leads me to conclude that many must think they're pretty damn special prizes to start out with, and most have been brainwashed on the Prince Charming fantasy. After watching an interview TV show where they asked all these girls what are they looking for in a guy and really probed them for the truth, the girls initially said a warm, sensitive guy who likes kids and helps out with raising them, but when pressed on it, they said such things as ambition, well established, has money, etc. Then when they were asked about their romantic ideals, they all said tall, dark, handsome, and muscular. Despite how average and mundane a girl is, her perception of herself is generally higher than the person she actually is as viewed objectively. Virtually all girls think they're worthy of a high-achieving superior, sensitive, monogamous alpha male, and virtually all of them under 35 think they will find one and get him, even though most won't, simply because they don't exist much in the real world. Girls under 35 in general live in these romantic delusions that are so far off the mark from the way most guys are that they set themselves up for disappointment and don't get the relationships they really want. As far as superficials go, men want facial beauty, slim body, young age, and the larger the chest, the better. Women are more complicated and picky. There's no universal answer for them. Women are tuned into other women and generally into the feminine look. Most women aren't lesbians, but they like beautiful muscular men who look somewhat feminine like women, as evident by the guys on romance novel covers. The stereotypes say that men want good looks in a girl while a woman wants emotional sensitivity and ability as a breadwinner in a man. Whenever somebody asks a guy to go out on a blind date, the first thing he says is, "What does she look like?" meaning does she have a pretty face, big boobs, and a nice body? For a girl, it's generally, what does he do for a living? Women are ultimately more practical than men in the search for a mate. It goes back to the animal kingdom thing, they're looking for a good provider. Despite all these stereotypes that have a grain of truth to them, I contend that almost all human beings are romantic fools, even if just in the fantasies of their own minds. Despite all the focus on the exteriors and the superficials, I believe that all people ultimately want unconditional love. All people really want love at first sight. They want to be swept away, they want someone to hit them like a bolt of lightning, they want a creature of the opposite sex that reaches mythical god/goddess proportions like Adonis or Aphrodite. In a nutshell, everyone wants a gutsy, spirited person with a bit of spunk who's easy to talk to in a real way and has got some money in the bank. They want a fine, flowing specimen of the opposite sex, somebody who doesn't give in to excess of any kind and takes care of themselves. We can dissect it down into all the usuals like good looks, good body, money, personality, intelligence, sense of humor, etc. But ultimately, it's an intangible feeling of sexual chemistry that people really want, someone who makes them feel supercharged tingly when they're with them, somebody who will love them like their mommy and daddy did when they were kids. There's also an element of safety in it, you feel safe and comfortable with the person. That's what men and women really want. And everyone wants gentleness, kindness, and sharing in a partner. Everybody wants softness in their partner. To me, this softness is a kind of sweetness, it's more than just niceness, it's the essence of this person that's so peaceful, tender, and loving that you just wanna be in that magical aura with her all day long. It's kind of like the love I feel for my dog. He's soft and cuddly, doesn't have a mean bone in his body, and he's always there to play with me and love me, that's love. That's what I want in a partner, someone nice and soft who I can play out my romantic notions with and she will go along with them and not be all serious and cynical about it. The sweetness all men are looking for in a woman is that archetypal fair maiden thing, somebody beautiful, innocent and fresh, unspoiled by all the crap in this stupid world, who will let a man do corny, romantic things with her. Women want a hero. Refer to the song I Need a Hero sung by Bonnie Wright. Straight and simple, a stand-up guy who works and takes responsibility for his life, and the proverbial minstrel gypsy, cool artist, adventurer, wanderer, creative, romance novel, main character type, all in one package. In this world of generic people, the toughest thing in the world to be is an individual, although everybody fancies themselves as cool individualists, even though most people work dull jobs and watch TV as the high point in their lives. A true original is somebody who's real, with a beauty and spirit all their own. There are plenty of nice-looking, attractive girls out there, but they barely register on my radar because I don't sense spark coming from them that they're truly cool, grounded, enlightened people in and of themselves. The way to attract high-quality, original people is to be an original, along with developing your good looks by staying active physically. You could be really stupid and go for somebody just 'cause they got a nice car, money, looks, etc., but what really matters is the way someone makes you feel when you're with them. If you get that intense love at first sight, sexual chemistry feeling, you could care less about her education, how much money he makes, where he comes from, how big her breasts are, or anything like that. I was always attracted to big-breasted ladies, but when I fell in love for the first time, she had a small chest and it didn't matter one bit to me because I was so taken by her charm. So I contend that we all really want to love and be loved via that comfortable, silent connection between two people that's stronger than superglue. It's all about love, respect, and companionship. All these things lead to the grounding effect called stability. Offer anyone a casual, arrogant millionaire or someone who they can feel will really love and respect them, and I will bet 80% will go for love over money. People want someone who will take away the inevitable loneliness we all feel, hopefully forever. If you meet the one that will fill that void for you, I will bet that none of that other superficial crap will matter, because except for the most extremely naive and stupid among us, we all really want the real thing when you strip all the crap away. The reason a lot of women have babies is because they want the love they can't seem to find with men in their baby. Look at all the beautiful ladies out there with nerds. The reason they're with them is because these guys treat these women like princesses, thereby eliminating that yucky feeling of emptiness that we all feel when we have no one to share our love with. Even the most beautiful women and rich guys with power in the world get lonely. Everybody hates that feeling and wants to fill it up with love, and they will stick with anyone who will give it to them. The simple secret of keeping anybody beyond the initial attraction is attention, attention, attention. Put them on a pedestal, worship them, and they will stay with you. After analyzing myself both alone and in love, and after going for all the cheap thrills and sensual pleasures that society has to offer, I've come to the conclusion that in the end, the ideal is to have love but live out your freely inspired life at the same time. To do this, you need a cool person who will let you be yourself, who won't smother you, who won't ask oodles of stupid questions, but just know that when you come home, she's your girl, and that's all that matters. Love doesn't stop your need to be yourself. You need both, soul and love. I don't know for sure if love is wired into us as human beings at birth, because I've known guys that seemed perfectly happy being bachelors, living the easy life for their own pleasure, and I've even known an older female artist who said she felt better alone living a free life. But I suspect for most people, they have this need that they desperately want to love somebody, and, of course, they want to be loved back. It's like that song by Queen from the 80s, Somebody to Love. It's so true. In order to be a full human being, you need somebody to love. Your dog will do for a while, but you need a real live human being. In the end, we all want true love, someone who will love us for us, regardless of how much money we have or how good we look, things that usually change with the sands of time anyway. If you disagree with me, send me a letter, tell me about it. If your ideas are good, I will add them to my collection of ideas here. What a guy wants. Guys are quite simple. They usually speak the simple truth. They want three basic things: a friend, a true companion, a girl who makes them feel good when in their presence, somebody who's nice, supportive, fun and good looking. Easy sex, sex on demand, sex like it's no big deal, sex for fun. That's it. Guys don't care about much else. A big myth I see going around is all these so-called professional, successful girls saying that men are intimidated by them. It's not true. The truth is that the guy senses that you're a cold bitch full of herself and that's it. Virtually every man except for some deluded social climber would pick a simple, fun attractive supermarket cashier over some bitch a lawyer who thinks she's it. Nice guys, nice girls. Anybody can fake being nice for a while. That's one of the rules for success in the world drilled into you ever since you watched Romper Room on TV. Be nice, but there are two things that can't be changed by an individual about themselves. Their real selves come out in wisps through unconscious acts which they might not realize gives away their true characters. Sooner or later, the real self will come out. It cannot stay bottled up behind a facade for longer than several months. Bad guys usually reveal themselves as angry, abusive cheaters and substance abusers. Bad girls usually reveal themselves as elitist, gold-diggin' bitches way worth it who deserve everything the guy gives them, so what they want is a nice, cushy life, a nanny or two to raise the babies the husbands want, a personal trainer to lose the weight they gained during the pregnancy, and everything else they can get to keep up with their high-maintenance, Cosmo lifestyle, carrying on as if they were single. The first way a facade cracks is under stress, which could be observing them in a real crisis or as simple as a long ride together, generally 8 hours or more plus a weekend or longer together, like a camping trip or a trip anywhere disguised as a tourist/romantic getaway. It's very easy to fake it when you're with each other just a few hours a day, but when you're with each other all the time, the real self will emerge, or at least wisps of it. A guy or girl's best spies are their lovers' friends who they hang with, or even their parents. Parents will often truthfully tell about what their children are like because they want to warn you about their bad habits before you decide to take the plunge. Talk to their friends casually about your new beau. See what they say about him or her. Don't act like a detective, act like you're interested in learning about your beau because you love him so much. You are known by the company you keep. If you hang with trailer trash, why should you be any different? Judge people by who their friends are. Their personalities will be similar. Vermin can get stuck in good meat and try to pass itself off as prime rib. Lots of lowlifes go to college, get professional degrees, get a good job and a yuppie lifestyle, but you can't change your heart. A lowlife is a lowlife is a lowlife. A bitch is a bitch is a bitch. The outside covering doesn't change the true heart of the person. You have to watch a person as they go through the casual parts of life. The way a person drives is the way they really are. Are they impatient and angry, aggressive, always hollering and screaming at the other drivers from the safety of their cars with their windows closed? How about sports and recreation? How competitive are they to win? How mad do they get when they lose? If they're competitive, they'll be competing with you someday as to who's the best parent, makes the most money, gets the most flirts in public, etc. Food to me is something I feed my stomach. To me, it doesn't much matter if I buy it from a greasy spoon or a phony high-class restaurant, so unless it's spoiled rotten, if you're with someone who complains about something at a restaurant, watch out. Imagine how they'll pick you apart once they reveal their true selves to you. How does an individual treat animals in general, or kids? How do they treat their relatives, especially the in-laws, like the girl their brother married? How do they treat casual people out in public? How do they treat service workers like waiters, store clerks, etc.? Don't be fooled by gifts and over-nice behavior. If you accept these things and it goes way over balance while you're just going along for the ride, be ready for wrath when the guy reveals his true self to you. If you don't want to get involved seriously with someone, don't lead them on in any way. It will just go from bad to worse. How do you know if someone is really nice? I look for a sense of modesty and independence, kind of like someone being who they are the way they were born without pretense, without trying to act trendy. Why would a truly nice person do something as egotistical and shallow as color their hair, get a tattoo or a nose ring? The more someone is being who they really are without the accoutrements of a pop culture world, the nicer they probably are, but I will give a certain amount of leeway to people under 25. Many nice people are brainwashed to try to act cool and trendy and often don't realize it's all pretense until they pass 25 years old or so. Some people never realize this. It also depends on what they do for a living. Certain professions are inherently egotistical, arrogant, and competitive. I won't name them here. You can figure out what they are for yourself. People with nice souls don't get into the stockbroker business. They're there to make money by adding nothing tangible to the worth of the world. They're selfish. It's intrinsically not a noble way to earn a living. It's not like a journalist or a teacher, someone who's actually trying to do something worthwhile for someone. How does an individual spend their time beyond a job? Do they do positive things for themselves like exercise, read, creative activities, etc., or do they do useless pop culture things like play cards, watch TV, shop, paint their nails, etc.? To me, it's the vibe. If somebody is faking niceness to me, I feel like I'm talking to a used car salesman. It goes back to the inner glow section I discussed earlier. How much of a gentle, intrinsic nature does one have doing things for the inner feeling of worth they get out of it versus being competitive, trendy, arrogant, consciously trying to get others to see them as a cool, successful, happen person? Most people to me are gray. I neither get a nice or evil vibe from them, just a regular mundane vibe. When I see a truly nice person, I can usually sense it right away. They look like they're really enjoying their lives but not being overbearing, abrasive, show-offy or superior about it. Attraction one-liners. Most of the following statements come from listening to random shows on TV while I wrote this book, and whenever I heard someone say something flattering about someone else, especially on them so-called love shows, I wrote it down. I even borrowed a few comments from a funeral for an American president where people were talking about how great he was. If you're too intense and come on too strong, you creep people out. Don't worship somebody right off. Be equal in effort and intensity. Look like you know how to enjoy yourself. He listens to me, hugs me, loves me, is honest and stable. He makes me feel safe and secure. He's a part of me. He gives off an aura of peace. He makes me feel special. He looked and smelled so sexy. He makes me feel like a princess. He has money. I was comfortable with him. There was never any show of vanity or power by him. He is a kind and loving man. Lady Chatterley. She's a genuinely sweet person. Your happiness means everything to me. He has a sweet, sentimental streak. His eyes have such tenderness in them. He does what he has to do to please me. She loves animals. She makes everyday magic. I forgive him because he is so beautiful. He plays the piano so beautifully. He fills the hole in my heart. He protects me. He is sweet and loving. He said he loved me and I said I loved him. We were made for each other. He seeks to find the purity in his soul. That's why I love him. He's with me. He makes me a part of his life. I like everything about him. I feel good when I'm around him. I can't explain it. I feel like I'm with my soulmate. We have fun together. He doesn't take me for granted. She makes me feel important and wanted. He's big, solid, and decent. He's fun to be around. When I'm with her, I'm happy. When I'm with her, it's perfect. He's a creature of unending desire. He tugs at my heart every time I see him. He builds me up, encourages me. She strokes my ego, makes me feel like the king. She's a genuinely sweet girl. He flatters me and makes me feel like the most important person in the world. She's naturally beautiful, naturally nice. He's a very, very sweet guy. She adored me. He makes me feel an inner, tender kind of warm. I trust him. I feel he has my back 100%. He respects my intelligence and treats me as an equal. She is a very unusual spirit. He doesn't take himself too seriously. I feel that I can lay my head on her shoulder. He's easy to talk to. I feel comfortable with him. He is pursuing me. He gets the limo and brings the wine, unlike Joe, who just goes out with me and doesn't try. It's fireworks going off. He's one in a million. He's nice and warm-hearted. He's so cute and adorable. He's got money. He's so romantic. He makes me feel loved, important, powerful, etc. He's such a nice guy. He makes me feel safe. He gets me. He can see into my soul. She's real with good intentions. She doesn't just want my money. I think he likes me. It's not just sex. He desires me, but he also adores me. He's kind-hearted and sweet. He's so soft and tender-hearted. He feels the same way about me as I feel about him. He knows me. He is so beautiful. He makes me feel good. I can't imagine a day without him. I give him everything and he returns it twofold. I love being with her. He's so wonderful. I want him to be the one. He wants to hold me, to be with me. He expresses himself freely. When he's gone, I miss him. It is a feeling of love on a really deep level. I feel as though we were meant to meet each other. You can't force love. I'm looking for the feeling that it's right. I have to be true to myself. He always gives me unconditional love. It's not about qualities per se, it's about a gut feeling in the soul. I have this feeling that this is right. He's a man's man. He's always attentive to me. It's like he's given me his soul. She's a lady. He doesn't stop making love until I'm satisfied. He loves me for who I really am. We dance under the stars. He makes me happy. He wrote a love song for me. He doesn't make me give up any of myself for him. He's young, handsome, and rich. He completes me. The passion has to be there. The man is courteous and tender, the woman is responsive and helps the man out in romance. I love you, I cherish you, I want you to be part of my life from now until forever unconditionally, no matter what. He holds me in his arms like in a dream. I felt like a romantic schoolgirl, like a romantic fool. He's such a joyful person. He's happy with who he is. He puts me before himself. I wanted to feel needed by someone like you. We bring the best of each together to make one. Happiness is you. He takes my breath away. He still does. I felt like drifting away on a gondola in Venice. Whenever I look into his eyes, I feel as though there's a light coming out of them that fills up all my empty spaces. I felt like we were on a tropical isle making love. She looks at me with love in her eyes. He wants me. He really, really wants me. He likes to seduce me. We have an overwhelming feeling for each other. He treats me like a princess. We have a lot of fun together. I'm the only one for him. We were meant for each other. I like to lie in his lap, the biggest, warmest lap in town. I just like to sit in the moonlight listening to music with him. He listens to me and gives advice. He is kind and understanding. He's a nice person. He told me he lives for one thing, to make me happy. You're the most beautiful, most desirable woman I've ever known. Burt Lancaster in 1958 movie Separate Tables. When you're with someone you love, it's a heart-to-heart experience, a unity of souls. I feel that everything I was looking for is embodied in you. You're everything I ever hoped to find. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I love you so much. We're gonna be together forever. I know this. I will honor you, cherish you, and make you so happy. He makes me feel wanted. He gives me respect and attention. He wants to make me as happy as possible. He is my destiny, I am his. I feel so natural around him. He staked out a claim as if he owned me and I loved it, this feeling that he loved me. He wants to be loved like a little boy or puppy wants to be loved. I always feel smarter, more confident, and beautiful when I'm around him. He has such a light and life in him. He's so focused on us. He doesn't care about what others think of him or us. To me she's just beautiful. He's a wildcat, never stopping his natural enjoyment of life. I want to be loved like I was when I was a little girl. He's passionate, tender, kind, respectful, everything I want in a man. When you find that special connection with somebody, it's your responsibility to follow it just like I did. He likes me just the way I am. He has a nice smile. He has a warm presence about him. He smells nice. He has brains and brawn. He's a perfect gentleman. I'm very lucky. He has soft lips and is a good kisser. Men want beauty and youth, women want power in a guy. I want a strong, athletic guy with a sense of humor who's down to earth. I want someone who accepts me for who I am. Everybody wants someone with generosity of spirit, passion for life and sincere eyes connected to a sincere soul. He has a good heart and is real. I never feel alone. I know he's always there for me. We do fun, exciting things together. She complements who I am. Together we make a good team. With her, I can be a little boy again and she can be a little girl. I don't feel like I have to fake it with him. We don't have to force conversation. If there's silence, it's cool. My ex criticized me. Everybody hates being criticized. My new beau always says nice things to me. He makes me laugh. I love being around him. I think we're soulmates. We feel comfortable with each other. We're great together. He completes me. He's fun. He makes me laugh. Life is too short to be serious. I feel loved, like he really loves me. He makes me feel safe when he holds me. He talks to me after sex rather than just rolling over and going to sleep. The main thing is trust. I want him to hold me in his arms and tell me everything is gonna be alright. He doesn't judge me. He does small, nice things for me. He likes me for who I am. He waited until he knew who I was in my soul before he slept with me. He showers me with affection. He's not afraid to show me love. He's loyal, steadfast, and devoted. He's unselfish in bed. He tries to please me while pleasing himself. He tells me he loves me every day. He is a plainly decent man. He is kind. He never tries to make others feel small. Men are such selfish lovers, but he cared about me. He was so affectionate. He's forthright, sincere, and direct. He's so likable. Everyone who meets him likes him. He knows what I want and how I want it. You marry the person you're standing next to when you're ready to get married. I do things with him that I never thought possible. When you're with a dishonest guy, you never know when you can trust him. To finally find an honest guy made it all worth it. I am myself with her. I have no defense against love. When you feel it, you can't fight it. He makes me feel like I'm the only girl in the world. He makes me feel secure, whole, like I'm not lost. How cool are you? Universal subconscious nonverbal question. Peasant girl, I have nothing to give you. Prince, nothing but your heart, which is more than I could ever hope for. I want somebody normal. 35-year-old woman, after going out with a bunch of frogs. I feel so complete and happy when he's around. I just like to sit around with him. He made me feel so safe and secure. He was always trying to comfort and soothe me. I believe in what he's doing. He believes in what I'm doing. He listens to me. He really cares about me. He cares about what I say. He's got morals and values, he's down to earth, he has family values and he doesn't put on any pretenses. He swept me off my feet. I want a companion to share my life with. He thinks I'm special enough to marry him. He likes who I really am and I like who he really is. He's sweet, kind, and understands me. She had this fun, easy breezy, carefree attitude. I want to feel needed. He has a kind disposition. He made me feel comfortable. He took the time to explain things to me. I want someone who loves me and make me feel special. Somebody who appreciates me. Somebody who lets me be myself. Somebody who respects me. She was always mysterious to me. That's what I want, that certain feminine allure. You can't fake it. You either got it in your soul or you don't. I want somebody with kindness of spirit. He wanted my ass or any ass for that matter, not me. Why people fear love? People fear love because it demands reciprocity. If you meet someone who you feel loves you, you feel you might not measure up to return the love that he or she wants and wants to give you. You might fear losing what you love. Suppose you have been abandoned before. You fear that it will happen again. Love is a feeling of intimate comfort with someone else. That's the measure. It's not lust, feeling sexual for them. If you seem to like pleasure more than love, it's normal. Human beings and animals seek pleasure. Can you love another person more than your own selfish desires for pleasure? Chapter 4. The Politics of People. How to deal with people. 1. Treat people right. Give them more than they expect. Make them feel good. A friend is someone who lives for what you create together right now. You are the people of God, He loved you and chose you for His own. So then, you must clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Be tolerant with one another and forgive one another whenever any of you has a complaint against someone else. You must forgive one another as the Lord has forgiven you. And to all these qualities add love, which binds all things together in perfect unity. Colossians 3:12-15. Try to be at peace with everyone. Hebrews 12:14. Accept people on their own terms. Be nice, helpful, and try to make them feel happy for the moment. They judge you in the first 5 seconds of contact, so at the very least, be neutral and bland. Don't be arrogant and snotty. At the very best, be pleasant, but don't offer a phony smile or come on too strong too soon. Just be coolly casual and nice. Give someone a compliment in a casual way like you really mean it, and they will like you immediately, because people are generally so starved for attention that they will fall for it every time. Tell almost anyone they're interesting, they will think you mean it and keep flapping their gums. By talking to someone casually, you show you like them, so they like you back. Merely by offering a bland sociable comment, you show you're being friendly. That's the best you can do, because coming on too strong and friendly is just as suspicious as being cold, if not more so. The way I do it is that no matter how negative the person might be, I always first assume that I'm gonna get positive energy out of them, so I go in with that expectation, to feed off whatever positive vibes they're sending me, to send it back, not to go in with a cynical outlook or shriveled up dreading the encounter. You have to be open to get open vibes back. I always watch my tongue. I never talk too much. I let them do all the talking and stand there like a supportive friend, nodding and smiling like a stupid, old Buddha. People give you what you give them, except for the few bastards and bitches who are hopelessly selfish all the time. Most people think they're fascinating and beautiful. By talking to them, you reinforce this thought in them, so they like you back because they think you see how fascinating they are, even if you're just going with the flow, being casually nice to anyone who bites just for the entertainment value, to see what other people are thinking about, even if you don't really give a damn. Be easy, cool and fun. The way to make people like you is to engage in small talk so that you each get a sense of each other, and if you get to a point of friendship or romantic love with someone, This ritual never ends. Most people, especially women with whom you're connected to personally, need you to touch bases with them all the time with meaningless small talk, otherwise they think you don't like them anymore or are plotting something against them by your silence. I've found this after living with several women over different points of my life. I generally don't like to talk much and found that they weren't happy with my silence and happiness in my own thoughts, so I made it a point to talk to them about something for a few minutes every day or two, regardless of how busy I was or what the topic was, often meaningless rants about nothing in particular, but it made them feel connected to me. People have to get a read on each other daily, especially your loved ones you live with, which is why, on those days you don't want to talk, you have to make a few lines of small talk anyway to show them you're not mad at them, you just don't feel like socializing much. Treat people like they're part of your family. Pay attention to the little details. Always be pleasant. Be a middle-of-the-road type of person who makes others feel comfortable. Don't run off at the mouth. Move fluidly from one subject to another. Know when the conversation is over and bow out gracefully. Use pauses and silence in moderation to let the conversation take on a natural rhythm. Don't be too profound or a know-it-all. Don't interrupt. Don't dominate. Be yourself unless you're a bore, then learn to act happy. Be interesting. Speak gently and softly. Among men in the modern world, deep friendships are rare because we've all been conditioned to stay superficial, never breathe a word about our problems and carry our own crosses, so all my relationships with my buddies are at a safe superficial level, which is sociable enough but doesn't really do much for me much as far as feeling a satisfying intimate connection. If I come across someone who snubs me or I don't intuitively like, I ignore them, avoid eye contact, keep my head down, act like they're not there and get out as soon as I can. This is better than saying something stupid to start a fight. You can learn from negative people and turn any negative encounter into a positive situation. Whenever you come across someone being a dipstick, keep your mouth shut, smile to yourself, and be thankful you're not like them. Say to yourself you will try extra harder to be the exact opposite of whatever negative behavior they're showing. Everybody in your path is there to teach you something, even the negative ones. Learn what you shouldn't be like. The way to be a good person is to be good to yourself. If you respect yourself, you will have some respect for the sanctity of life and you will respect other people as copies of you on some level. The unspoken code out in public is to mind your own business, so I'm nice enough but don't smile like a naive fool, nor do I get into anybody's face. If I feel good, I give a homeless guy a buck, make casual conversation with strangers. If I feel bad, I stay away from people. Life in America is generally people rushing through life, working their jobs, going to their cubby holes to watch TV detached from everybody else. Your best bet in general for peace of mind and for social expediency is to be a good person by culturing a calm, supportive nature about yourself. Just stay cool and relaxed and don't try to be too friendly, because a lot of people don't want the burden of having to be friendly to other people. They want to be left alone unbothered. They're stuck in their heads, don't understand you and don't really want to, just like you're stuck in your head living your life. When I go to a few certain places, there are people there who I see day after day and they see me, but aside from a nod and a hello, they don't want to talk to me nor I them, because we all got our own journeys and things on our minds and we don't want to bother feeling obligated to talk to each other all the time. If you see someone in need, reach out, give them peaceful conversation, subtle encouragement, a shot of love, inspiration, a boost. Kindness is easy when you feel good about life, so if you want to be a good citizen, be good to yourself, get your youthful spark strong, then you will have true joy and energy to burn and you will want to reach out to the world somehow. Ultimately, we're all a bunch of loner souls caught up in our own melodramas, made up of our need for money and material things, our private fantasies, heartaches, tragedies, triumphs and relationships with real people. Sometimes we want intimate contact, sometimes we don't. This is life as lived day by day. Through it all, you must have the sense to know that you have to hang on to your inspired youthful spark, otherwise everything else in your life is a wash. When you meet someone for the first time, they're checking you out to see if you're friend or foe. You develop trust over time by proving you're a non-threatening positive force, but even still, face-to-face encounters with people can be tough because oftentimes, you have nothing to say but you still feel an obligation to touch bases socially. I simply try to be a good person and make pleasant, non-controversial small talk. If there's nothing to say, I move on. I don't try to force conversations. Even the closest among us are still infinite distances apart in terms of what others really know what we're thinking beyond our public personas. Many people fear other people. They're insecure and shy, they may feel lonely in a crowd, or when they feel tired and weak, they don't feel like facing other people. Many people feel tense for one reason or another sometimes. When I sense tension, I move on and leave them be. A lot of people feel self-conscious in certain social situations, especially when several or more people are focused on them. Regardless of what situation you're in, don't let groups of people make you alter your behavior because you feel self-conscious. Always be your true self. Keep your dignity. Try to talk to people as though you were one-on-one, even if in a group and everybody's trying to act cool. Don't belittle someone just to try to get a laugh. Don't talk negatively about people to other people because these people may assume you're negative and you will talk about them when you turn your back. Don't force conversations. Always tailor yourself to whoever you're talking to. If you sense discomfort or the conversation dies a natural death, close it off and move on. Many people don't want to talk or make friends. Let sleeping dogs lie. You don't have to be stoic like we're supposed to be out in public, but at the same time, don't push for social interactions. Just make a few pleasant remarks. If somebody wants to talk to you, they will. If not, don't push it. Don't be too friendly. Be pleasant. People are suspicious of over-friendly people, so be nice but don't come on too strong. There are many negative, small-minded people out there. Once you realize somebody you're dealing with fits into this category, your best bet is to be superficially pleasant when you're around them, but otherwise try to avoid them as much as possible. Small-minded people are negative for either of the three following reasons, or all of them put together. Excessive vanity, ego problems, have to feel superior to everybody. Anger at the world for not being successful enough. Narrow mindset caused by a lifetime of brainwash from the world. Many of these people see life from a box with a limited point of view and set rules and regulations that don't allow them to see the big picture nor the more spiritual flow that life should be. Many negative people subconsciously feel inferior and unfulfilled on the inside, even though they don't know why, so they deal with it by being jerks on the outside in real life to try to give themselves some kind of warped good feeling for the moment, but they can never be fulfilled because all their actions are negative and empty. Many people in positions of authority try to abuse their subordinates even though they don't realize that all this power is artificial, it has nothing to do with the real them as human beings. Many of these losers don't even realize they're jerks. Some get enlightened, many don't. Deal with these type of people minimally if you have to, but otherwise avoid them because they will just drag your soul down. If you can't sense some kind of good intention coming out of a person, don't deal with them much unless they prove to you otherwise by their actions. I don't particularly care what people think about me because I know how fulfilled I am with my life and how insecure most people are in their private thoughts, so if someone tries to put me on the spot or embarrass me in a conversation, I simply write them off as negative people and avoid sociable conversation the next time I see them. I give them short, terse answers to let them know indirectly that I don't like them nor their company. That's how you get rid of undesirables. Other than that, you ignore them, especially all the negative stuff they say. When it gets right down to it, people don't give a damn about you much, they're thinking about their lives, so don't worry about what others might be thinking about you. Just try to live a great life for yourself uninfluenced by anybody negative out there. There are losers around who overcompensate for their feelings of inferiority by being loudmouths. A line in the poem Desiderata says, avoid loud and aggressive people because they are vexations to the spirit. If you're around loud people, know they're usually messed up inside. You don't have to take it. Leave the situation as quickly as possible. With women, no matter how different the players are, even a young guy with an older woman, the guy will almost always have sexual thoughts about any female he comes across and talks to. This is the way it is for men. Maybe women are the same, I don't know, but I do know that men are sexual beings right down to the core, thinking sexually about just about all women they meet out there in public. There can be no such thing as a purely platonic relationship between a reasonably attractive guy and girl. At the very least, there will be flirting there. Most people don't want to get to know other people too well, to get too deep with them, because it's safer and easier to stay superficial, plus the fact that we're more concerned with our own lives than the lives of others, so we only want to hear their stories to stay sociable, not so much that they drag us into their problems, miseries, and ego trips. I have casual acquaintances at the gym where I talk to several people about anything and everything, but we know it's just meaningless conversation to pass the time while we work out. We have no emotional connections between each other, we're just being sociable while there, then we go off to our own lives, and we all understand this unspoken relationship amongst ourselves. It never goes beyond the at the gym superficial level. This is the way life works in America. Be sociable in a superficial way. The golden rule is to never make waves unless someone is disrespecting you blatantly. Be pleasant to get what you want out of any deal. People respond better to pleasantness than adversity. The second you betray any sense of sarcasm or animosity in your voice is the second you've made an enemy who will try to get you back one way or another. People are generally quite vengeful and will remember the time you snubbed them if an opportunity comes up for them to get you back. If you have a gentle, calm voice, you will disarm most people who will respond with gentleness too. 1 second of a loud, arrogant tone in your voice and you've alienated someone. Life goes a lot easier if you're nice to people. As insensitive as it may sound, your inner sanctity is your most important thing, therefore most people must be relegated to scenery in your life precisely for the fact that you're scenery to them. I come across brainwashed, trivial people all the time, but I know that they think they're cool, enlightened, successful and happening, so I let them live in their delusions just like I live in mine, and even encourage them if they engage me in conversation. How to deal with people too. People will open up to you only if you give of yourself first. If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. Emily Dickinson. The world is full of trivial, narrow-minded people, some just petty and stupid, others inherently evil, that you will come across who will try to use you or take advantage of you one way or another. Forgive the negative lost souls of the world, even if just in your mind, then forget about them as quickly as possible. If you choose to stay around a petty lost soul, it's your fault for being so starved for companionship that you choose to stay with a louse rather than get rid of the bum. Look at negative, rotten people as a gift to you when you're faced with them, because they make you realize how lucky you are for not being like them, and make you spiritually stronger when you learn to deal with them quickly, roll over, and forget about them without any effect on your life. If you give in to bitterness and hate, it will drain your soul's natural healthy inspired energy. If you're powerful enough to forgive and forget, even if just in your mind, and keep moving on with your life, you win, because you're proving to yourself how strong you are, that no petty minds out there can faze you no matter what. This is a very important lesson in life. We all get crapped on and used all the time. I've seen philosophers and great thinkers all the way back to Plato write about how anger and bitterness destroys people. Regardless of personal loss to you, you must get over it immediately. Forget about these poison people, don't dwell on the injustices committed against you, and simply keep moving on, living in the present, concerned only with your life, not preoccupied with thoughts of being used and how you want to get them back. For peace of mind's sake and to keep your soul strong and getting stronger, forget everything, live in the present and keep moving on with your life. We truly live in the most brainwashed society ever. In the past, we weren't brainwashed by a constant stream of media and a career track lifestyle engendered by the school system, but nowadays just about everybody is on the same soppy page and it's mundanely disgusting. You can't love everyone, so don't try. You will be intuitively attracted to 3 types of people. Your soulmate, your romantic love connection. A few kindred spirits, people who think like you. Friends, people who are not like you but are still good, decent people. Everyone else, except for relatives who you're stuck with, is basically your environment, like furniture or trees. Sure, be nice to them in a perfunctory way, smile, and even use phony charm if you want, but don't kid yourself. There's no such thing as a holistic love of humanity. There are only a few people out there that you will really truly like or love from the bottom of your heart, a kind of in-group who are people basically like you. For me, it's something like anyone who lives for inspiration and is relaxed enough to enjoy their lives freely without being a brainwashed tight ass, and that's it. I'm basically indifferent to everyone else because I have nothing in common with them. I feel for disabled kids and the downtrodden, but beyond that, I don't buy into the new age delusion about feeling a connection to humanity, because I can't respect the many people I see around who obviously have no respect for themselves, as evident by couch potato bodies, trivial minds, brainwashed souls, vanity, frivolity, excessive attachments to material things, simple greed, and mean, pasty, stressed out expressions on their faces. On the other hand, I've been friends with some of the unlikeliest people around because it's really what's inside that counts. If someone offers you the same respect you offer them and helps you out by offering you inspiration, encouragement, favors, or social time together, they're good people regardless of how they look on the outside. I've been friends with rednecks, gays, Christians, couch potatoes, nerds, business types, Vietnam vets, etc. because it's a two-way street. If you can have a pleasant, intelligent conversation with someone and stay on the same page as to what's real, that's what friendship is. People encourage/help me and I encourage/help them back. That's the way life works. Don't necessarily judge people by outer look. Give them a chance to reveal their souls to you. Friends aren't really kindred spirits, but they're good people who understand the need for sociability and don't mind being nice and cheerful to others because they're decent people who want to be positive about life. So play it cool, don't judge based on outer look alone. Even slobs can be good people. Some people hate everybody who's not like them. I'm just indifferent to them. I live my life, mind my own business, nod my head, act superficially pleasant, but don't have a strong social need to connect to people I know are different than me, even though I befriend such people from time to time because we have a common motive or understanding in a certain situation. It's simply just too overwhelming to try to befriend everybody, even people you intuitively feel nothing for because for one reason or another you just know you don't like them. Be friendly to others and they will be friendly to you. You don't have to get deep about it. Just be pleasant and lighthearted, go for a laugh, help them out if they need it, socialize and try to have fun times together. To me, a friend is someone I can relate to in a real way who wants to have easy time together and good conversation about nothing in particular. You can have business friends too. It's like that quote, politics makes strange bedfellows. The truth is that life makes strange bedfellows. You can have the unlikeliest of people come together to form an alliance when it comes down to earning money with each other or any other common cause. By the same token, it doesn't matter who you live next to. You will usually befriend your immediate neighbors to some extent because it's a wise thing to do from a pragmatic point of view. Prejudiced people often develop friendships with black or gay neighbors because they see them as ordinary people like themselves, nothing more. I don't get very deep with most people beyond intellectual conversation as a hobby, but the operative word for true friendship is to really care about someone. A friend is someone who doesn't care if you look like a nerd, they will be nice to you no matter what. If I meet someone somewhere, I will make a few innocuous neutral or pleasant comments, then say something from the latest headline, and if they want to talk, they will answer back, and in a few minutes, we will be exchanging good conversation. The way of the world is generally petty materialism, so don't expect light-hearted, enlightened people out there living for soul. Expect small-minded people with phony fronts thinking they know it all, measuring their lives by their possessions and alleged status in the so-called world. Just watch court TV sometimes to see the true nature of the beast. How to deal with people. 3. All the evil in the world is generally caused by anger at feeling misused and left out by a cruel system compounded by a feeling of loneliness. Most bad people are people who probably don't get enough love and feasible opportunity to do something worthy with their lives, so know that anger is pain. These people are generally messed up with empty souls, so don't take it personally when someone lashes out at you, and know it's their problem, not yours. Miserable people are often lonely and feel that life has passed them by, but don't realize they have to create their own lives. Society is a bunch of solitary blobs of flesh, each walking around in a world of their own creation, connected to other people by the law, political system, business machine, mass media, pop culture, and the social religious delusions we share, but we're all loners. Nobody really knows what anybody else is really thinking, even though most of us try to act like we're cool, pro-social, hip and connected to the illusory in crowd. We all live in fantasies in our own minds known to none but us. You never really truly know anybody else, so your best bet is not to try too hard, because almost no one will ever reveal their true selves to you. Accept yourself for who you are, accept your life and play along with everybody else. Let them live in their fantasy worlds just like you live in yours. Don't try to change them or impose your view. Everybody loves themselves above all else, everybody thinks they're pretty damn cool and special, so your job is to play along, be pleasant, nice, and use a bit of charm. That's the true politics of how to get along with people. Everything you do speaks volumes about your character, and if you're negative, it will be used against you at some point in time as an act of revenge. So I always either keep my mouth shut or speak like pleasant jello, going along with anybody I come across, because I have no ego to protect anyway, since I don't care of what others might think of me or of what impression I might make on them, so I don't bother with the own-upmanship games many people play. I just be myself, and if somebody doesn't like that, I could care less. To get what you want, give people what they want, namely attention, compliments, charm, and useful practical assistance. Don't bother with own-upmanship thinking. If you're enlightened, your ego is within you as part of your soul. You don't need to compete with other people or feed your ego by trying to appear superior or winning some illusory status games. You already feel good within yourself. You really don't need other people to give you a jolt, pep talk, or a compliment, nor do you need to connect with people for comfort and support. You're too strong for any of that. Play along like the wind. Be pleasant, but know within that you have a rock-solid base immune to praise or criticism. If you need love, try to find one pure heart to be with. If you can find a few kindred spirits who share your love of life, you're ahead of the game. Everyone else is caught up in a world of their own creation, their own fantasies and problems. It's great to think highly of yourself, but when you're around other people, be humble, passive, and interested in them in a courteous way. You will be back in your own space soon enough, and you will be amazed at how people respond to you positively simply by being humbly courteous, because there's generally so much tension in the world that people don't expect it. People generally expect self-centered attitudes when dealing with people for the first time, so when they're checking you out, try to act egoless, casual, and nice. Try to like people, or at least be nice to them. It's the best way, even if you hate them, simply to avoid friction. Refuse to allow anyone to belittle your soul by making you hate them. Hate is a tough emotion because it takes so much effort. It's so much easier to be free to go along, liking whomever you want, forgiving your enemies and ignoring the rest. At the very least, keep your mouth shut around people you don't like. Forgive, forget, and keep moving, taking nothing too seriously. If you meet a downer, get away as quickly as possible and don't let anyone interfere with your connection to your soul. There are truly miserable, selfish people around who take delight out of belittling others because they're miserable, and this is one way to give themselves the illusion of power. If you have a miserable relative, there's no law etched in stone that says you have to associate because they're a relative. Ultimately, People are secondary to you by yourself in your soul. They don't care about you either good or bad as much as they care about their own lives. Even your own family is a mishmash of contradictory individuals, each going their own way, particularly if you have teenagers. This is a fact of life. Everybody sees the world from their own point of view, with themselves as the most important thing in life, and the biggest mistake nearly everybody makes is that they think others are thinking about them and concerned with their lives as much as they're thinking about their own, but they aren't. All people hate being told what to do or talked down to. Nobody's really stupid. Everybody has the intuitive sense to know when someone is trying to manipulate them. Some go with the flow because they're weak or in a position of subservience. Use finesse, but simply be honest when you have a need or request for help. If you help people and like them, they will help you and like you back. Arrogance and commands might get the job done in a work setting, but ultimately you lose because you alienate your workers. Even if you don't like someone, if you need their help, you have to act like you respect them for who they are. It's always give and take. Give them praise, money or respect, and they will give you what you want out of the deal. Make people feel needed. Make them feel important and special to you. Show them that their efforts are appreciated. People do things because they want to. The way to get help from people to do what you want is to be a nice person, be direct when you need help, explain the situation to them and offer an equitable favor. If you need help moving a few pieces of furniture, offer a buddy a meal at Burger King or a few beer at the local bar and $20. People can be nice face to face, but it doesn't mean that you should necessarily trust them. Just play along with everyone and take life as a ride while keeping one hand firmly on your wallet. Many people are trivial. Always be polite, but watch who you trust, especially with your money and things like your car. Everybody is selfish to a certain extent. Everybody can degenerate into jerkiness if the world is crapping on them. Everybody can switch from Jekyll to Hyde if they're angry enough or if the temptation is too great. If somebody leaves a lot of money laying around, even the most loyal friend will be tempted to steal some. Based on all the pettiness and evilness I've seen, I have to conclude that a large part of the population are not only selfish but downright evil. Just about everyone puts on a happy face because it's the politically expedient thing to do in public when dealing with people, but lurking beneath the surface, many people are downright scoundrels. On several occasions, I've been hit or cut off by cars on my bike and they took off knowing full well what they did, leaving me laying there on the ground. A lot of people are angry, self-centered trivial bastards and bitches looking to relieve some of their anger one way or another. There are no wonderfully perfect people in the world. Whenever you're feeling scared, just remember that everybody else around you is feeling the exact same insecurities. People put on cool fronts, but underneath, everybody's the same mash of contradictory emotions. Chapter 5. Shyness Guide. Shyness in general. Shyness, also called social anxiety or social phobia, is simply fear of either people or public places, which manifests itself via physiological signs like a rapid heart rate, shaking, dry mouth, blushing, sweating, etc., and essentially renders the person immobile or unable to function well in the situation. It's detrimental because it causes people to miss out on situations that could be good for them if they'd only relax a little and lighten up. It's kind of a fear of embarrassing yourself if you act, so you take the easy way out and become a wallflower. It becomes an anxiety disorder when it gets out of proportion to the reality of the situation. Shyness is a combination of self-consciousness and fear. You're so focused on yourself and how you think everybody's looking at you and thinking that you're a klutz that you invariably work yourself up to a fervor, get all flustered and mess up. Or you're just so passive that you just sit there and do nothing. Some people use kind words to describe shyness, like laid back, mellow, easygoing, but it all comes down to wimpiness to me. Shyness can be all-encompassing for some people or situational, as is the case for most people. Everyone is shy at some point in time, like if you're at a party and you don't know anyone, or public speaking can cause social anxiety in a lot of people. The only real treatment is practice, practice, practice. Put it in your mind that meeting new people is fun and then go out and do it. Some people say we're born with a temperament for shyness, others say that if you didn't have a lot of social stimulation as a kid, you grow up scared and shy and run back to mama whenever something goes wrong. A shy child need not necessarily be treated with child gloves. There are a few points about shyness in children which will help you better understand the best approach in dealing with your child. First of all, are you sure your child really is shy? Some children like to size up a situation before they jump in. Caution should not be misunderstood as shyness. Don't call your child shy. Studies have shown that often a child will grow to fit a label. Parental pressure on the shy child can cause anxiety and insecurity, leading to a worse problem with shyness. Don't push your child to achieve above his or her individual level. Never compare your shy child with other children in a negative way. And never allow anyone else to hurt your child in this way. Take your child's ideas seriously. By lessening the importance of a child's concerns, you lessen the child. Encourage your shy child to get involved in activities with others. Don't allow too many isolating activities, like watching TV. Never push your shy child to do things he or she would find unbearable. Rather, make suggestions, but realize your child may not be ready. Be patient. You need not handle your shy child with child gloves, but be aware of how he feels and show that you understand. Dating shyness/love shyness. The way shyness gets to the dating scene is that so many people out there are so afraid of rejection or looking stupid if they ask someone out that they don't, and the fact is that there are many millions of both guys and girls in this country who are so shy that they have never had a love life and probably never will. They either never went out on a date or their first few dates during the teenage years were so negative that they just don't want to go through that pain anymore, so they don't date. Everybody's in the same boat. All potential dating situations have some kind of anxiety attached to them, but it's a good kind of anxiety, like an exciting thing. Think that way. Everybody's scared and sometimes shy when it comes to new potential mates, so you gotta feel the fear and do it anyway or get over it. Anybody can change/make moves. You just gotta get some guts, then get out there in the real world anywhere, then start flapping your gums to anyone about anything. I'm an easygoing, low-key person, but I'm not shy. I know what I have to do and I do it. I don't have to be boisterous, loud, or aggressive to approach people and talk to them. In fact, I find that people like me when I approach them for the first time and talk in a casual, non-threatening, casual manner. Always be yourself. Don't go for phoniness. If you feel you will get scared, try practicing first encounters over in your mind. You are what you think and do, so the more you act happy and carefree, the less you will be shy. Be calm and pleasant. Make eye contact but not too much. Smile. They're the big two. If you can smile, look someone in the eye, then say hi, you're well on your way. Act casually like you do this stuff every day. If something doesn't work, so what? You learn from it and move on. If you're too shy to initiate with someone you like, maybe it's because you have a low self-concept. Work on yourself a bit to get your confidence up. It's very simple. If you see your soulmate, heartthrob out there, and you know in your heart that you can please them, you gotta make that move. It's that simple. If you don't, you will kick yourself in the butt until the next one comes along and you don't act on that one. If you're extremely shy, there are prescription anti-anxiety and antidepressant drugs on the market. In my research in the psychobabble section of the library, generally #155-158, I found some material on shyness in the courtship process, though not much. It has been referred to as the shy man syndrome, although girls get it too. The Shy Man Syndrome, Dr. Brian Gilmerton, Madison Books, 1989. There are lots of websites now selling books that amount to how to be a stud or seductress regardless of how much of a nerd you are. They're all the same. They charge you $30 for an ebook that tries to pump up your confidence by telling you to be positive and vivacious. Be like me. I don't fake it, nor do I try sleazy moves on girls I feel nothing for. Don't approach someone you're not really attracted to, which a lot of guys do for the possibility of sex. If a girl is under 30 and thinks she's all that, into fashions and trends, and you don't look like some model or linebacker, there's a good chance she thinks you're beneath her. Don't waste your time on prima donnas, at least the ones under 30. Wait until they humble down a bit. It's nothing personal against you. A lot of girls are massively brainwashed to think that their looks will get them everything, but they don't seem to realize they only have a short window on natural, youthful beauty, then they're relegated to has-been status as the new crop of youthful beauties take over. They're now at the back of the line with all the normal plebeies. So my point is, don't take rejection personally. Don't set your sights on a prima donna under 30. Many of them are arrogant, horrible, uppity people. And don't commit a misstep that many young people do. They become fixated or infatuated with one person they know and fantasize about ways to meet them. When you get to my age, you realize love ain't that deep. You can sense the vibes from the other person. Follow what they tell you. If you sense nothing and don't get smiles, why set yourself up for rejection? You can tell if someone likes you and is interested. The shyness comes from a mismatch, from asking someone out who is either not your type or out of your league. Don't ask people out who are likely to say no or play hard to get. If you're the scientific type, a nice, quiet, unassuming guy, why waste your time asking some wannabe model type out who sees herself with some male model type? I repeat, you know when someone likes you. Another thing about being my age. You realize everybody's human. There are no superstars in life. Everyone has the exact same insecurities. Some people are just better actors than others. It's like nobody impresses me anymore, or at least very few people do. Physical beauty doesn't impress me unless it comes with a warm heart. Very few girls are that beautiful or charismatic that I'm intimidated by them. I'm too not attracted to the vain, self-centered type. I'm actually attracted to girls with original characters, being themselves. These types of girls have modest egos. They're just happy living their lives. They have no need to pretense, so to approach one of these girls is easy because they're down to earth. Shyness starts from youth. Psychologists have come up with a number of reasons why a seemingly well-adjusted boy or girl grow to be shy when it comes to courting. Some of these possible reasons are: overstrong, controlling, critical mother. Weak, subdued father or no father. Either a loner or brought up mostly around the same sex. Very little contact with the opposite sex. Was teased as a sissy or for being less than a man as a kid. Afraid to make friends for fear they will be vulnerable to more teasing and possibly be rejected again. Usually academically smart but not socially smart. Very high expectations for romance and the person they want to be with. Too dreamy, don't live in the real world. Seems fragile and mentally ill. Emotionally immature. The truth is that everybody is somewhat shy. You have to open up and circulate somewhat like everybody else. Get to the core of your feelings, fears, and feelings of inadequacy. The more you understand yourself, the more you can get over your shyness, if, in fact, there is a link between your past and shyness, but I'm more pragmatic about it. You just have to get out there and circulate. Get a job as a cashier, a bartender, or a waitress. That will either cure your shyness or at least help you deal with it. Sensitive in love. Don't read too much into anything. It's action over time that matters, not how someone is acting or treating you today, because daily moods are transient. They don't reflect the true character of the person nor his or her true feelings for you. A lot of people, especially girls, live like psychobabble psychologists. They endlessly analyze every move their partner makes and are constantly wondering, does he love me anymore, or was that just a negative gesture he made to me? This is so common that I even saw a segment parodying this on one of them teen-type love movies made for 20-somethings. The girl's thoughts were dubbed over the action. It was really funny how she was overreacting about everything and reading all this imaginary stuff into it. It was funny, but the truth is that there are loads of girls around like this. They think they got something on women's intuition, or maybe they're born that way with that kinda busybody vibe. She's 5 steps ahead of you and counting. And the insecurity is fierce too. If you could read the typical girl's mind, you'd see stuff like that girl looks really pretty, I'm getting old, I'm not as pretty as her, I wonder if he still loves me, my legs look kinda chubby, I got bad breath, maybe he doesn't love me anymore. With all these pretty, smart girls around, why does he stick around with me? And it goes on and on, insecurity unleashed. A working definition of sensitivity is that you overreact to the regular events and foibles of life. If you don't have a thick skin out in the real world, you'll be a basket case of emotions because people treat you callously, are insensitive, rude, purposely malicious, and ignore you all the time. In cities where lots of people live, we have to depersonalize each other, or at least shut each other out in order to stay sane, which is why most of us who are out there in public every day learn to temper our emotions, to not take things so personally anymore. This extends to relationships. You can't question the motives behind everything. You can't be too critical of what your lover does. It's not rocket science to know where your lover is on the hot, warm, neutral, cold scale. Oftentimes, neutral or coldness has nothing to do with you. I'll give you an example. Right now I have a toothache. I booked an appointment with the dentist 2 weeks ago, which will be in 2 weeks. The pain flares up pretty bad sometimes, but I've said nothing to the people I live with because that's the way I am. I'm not a sniveling wimp looking for sympathy, but at the same time, I find myself trying to stay away from them in order to suffer in peace by myself, but the thing is that they may perceive this as me being cold and aloof. Whenever I'm feeling blue or have a problem on my mind, I withdraw. I don't want people to see me in a sullen mood, nor do I want to deal with them. I'm not feeling very playful, easygoing, or sociable, so the logical thing for me is to stay away, but other people might perceive this as me being cold to them. Then they wonder why. What is it that they did to make me cold to them, when the truth is that they did nothing? It's all my problem. This is why I keep going. If someone is neutral or cold to me, I just think they're having one of those wannabe alone days. I only start to question their current attitude to me if I see this cold attitude for a week or more. You gotta let things slide and keep moving. You can't overanalyze love. If you do, you'll be screwed. A religious guy I know has been quite honest with me. He told me there have been times when he felt there was nothing left between him and his wife, and times he's been very angry with her, but he stuck through, and the marriage is pretty happy today because he always kept his mouth shut about his negative feelings and just tried to be good to her little by little, day by day. That's the best you can ever do. Be good to your partner. If you don't sense the goodness reciprocated over a month or two, that's the time to start questioning the relationship, but don't question every little act or every day. We're all so human. Our moods are so plastic. Sometimes they go up and down. You just can't be too sensitive in a relationship. You have to let it go and let it ride. If your partner does anything that you perceive to be negative, ignore it, at least for a month or two. Imagine having sex/making love with a highly sensitive person. She's analyzing everything you're doing rather than just going with it freely with passionate abandon. Back in the old days in the jungle, we had to be super sensitive to the moods and motives of others, because if they were feeling grumpy, they could easily bash us over the head and kill us. But nowadays, we're all so civilized on a generic level. Our safety isn't in real danger, very much so. I say shut it off, that hyper switch that makes you constantly want to analyze people for their motives towards you. If you play it cool, most negative moments blow over. I schemed a book talking about how men and women inherently distrust each other because of some deep-rooted psychobabble past baggage. I present myself here and now. I have no ulterior motives because I can't be bothered. I present myself as who I am. You either accept me or reject me. Either way, I don't care, because I will sleep tonight in my own skin, happy with who I am. I can be your friend and lover or not. Either way won't make me or break me, because I've been in love before, I've lost love several times, and now I know at the end of the day, I'm always standing no matter what. If you reject me, put me down or leave me, I'm old enough to know I will get over it, I'm a good person, life goes on and there are many fish in the ocean. It's your problem, not mine. I'm not soppy and sensitive like I might have been at 23. I'm over those days when the emotions of love are everything. This works with children too. Don't let them feel like they're getting one over you by making you feel guilty. I treat them as rational adults. If they screw with me emotionally, I tell them to grow up and get real. One psychobabbler said that over-anxiety and over-analysis in a relationship is a sign that that person fears intimacy. It goes back to my point. Go with the flow. If you feel love, act on it. Don't cut it off. Just go without thinking about it much or analyzing it. Conversely, if you feel coldness and hate, ignore it. Act loving like you don't sense anything's wrong. Just trust your inherent nature. If you sense someone is good and loving, open up to them. If you sense your lover is being good and loving today, open up to him. If he's being neutral or negative, ignore it, be loving. If he doesn't respond after a month of unrequited love on your part, you deserve an explanation. Ask him about it, then make the decision to stay or go. Don't blame yourself as many millions do. If you give love and get nothing back, don't waste your time. Go. I live by my own standard. It's nothing personal. I spend X number of hours a day doing things I feel I must by the standard in my soul, yet people always think I'm dismissive of them or rejecting them when I say not now, later. I'm not. This is something I must do. After that, I'll be happy to spend time with you. Don't read too much in other people's behavior unless you see it for over a month. Be more trusting and relaxed. Dating shyness websites. a-online-dating.com/love_lessons_for_the_shy.htm. Christian-dating-service-plus.com. datebeautifulwomen.com/beta/shyness.pdf. datingclass.com/dating/shyness.shtml. datinghelp.biz/tips/dating-shyness.html. dating-report.com/shyness. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/love-shyness. encyclopedian.com/low/love-shyness.html. findinglove after50.com/overcoming_shyness_new.html. howtomeetwomen.biz/ways-to-overcome-shyness.html. justaGWAILO.com/tag/love-shyness. justforfunpersonals.com/romance-help.html. love-shy.com. lovecube.com/find-love/shyness.htm. onlinedatingschool.com/overcoming-shyness.htm. shyness.com. shypassions.com. soswab.com, overcoming shyness with women. Shyness websites. Books about shyness are at #155.232 and #155.418 at the library. Books about anxieties and phobias are at #616.8522 or RC552 at the library. Anxieties.com. anxietybusters.com. anxietynetwork.com. anxietyselfhelp.com. anxietytofreedom.com. conquershyness.com. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/shyness. hypnosisdownloads.com/self-improvement/overcoming-shyness.html. kidshealth.org/teen/your-mind/emotions/shyness.html. pamf.org/teen/life/relationships/shy.html. shakyhourshyness.com/tips.htm. shyanfree.com. shyness.com. shynesshelp.com. socialanxiety.com. social-anxiety.com. socialanxiety.com.au. socialanxiettyassist.com.au. socialanxietyinstitute.org, social-anxiety-shyness-info.com, socialfitnessforum.com, socialphobia.net, Anxiety Disorders Association of America, 800-737-3400, ada.org. All-around support group providing referrals, resources, and treatment. Freedom from Fear. freedomfromfear.com. freedomfromfear.org. Anxiety Support Organization. National Institute of Mental Health. Panic and Anxiety Hotline. 888-8 Anxiety. 800-647-2642. nimh.nih.gov/anxiety. Social Anxiety Disorder Coalition. allergictopeople.com. Social anxiety websites. emotionsanonymous.org. groups.yahoo.com/neo/group/shyness/info. psychcentral.com/lib/what-is-social-phobia. shakyhourshyness.com. shyanfree.com. shyunited.com. socialphobia.org. socialphobiaworld.com. socialsuccessmastery.com. succeedsoceoli.com.